My first interaction with Twine was I didn't actually know we were using Twine for a while because they kind of implemented it a little bit stealthily, which I think also is maybe testament to how easy it is to implement the fact that they could do that without it being like a whole project. Um, and what I noticed was that every time they were kind of talking about different features on the roadmap, they were listing out like 5 or 6 different customer examples that it would have a direct impact on. And I was thinking to myself, like, how are they getting the time to actually meet with all of these customers? Like, I want my product managers to meet with customers, but I'm a little worried that actually they're spending way too much time meeting with customers and not enough time building stuff. And so a couple of times I kind of like dug in, and a couple of times I would even give my own examples. And then I found that like they had actually somehow been in that same meeting that they definitely weren't in, but they had some of the same insights that I kind of had. So, and then I asked them like, how do you know that? They'd say, oh, we're using Twine. And then I got them to show it to me. That was like about a year ago. So that was kind of my first experience with it. And it was amusing that I didn't even know it was there. I could just see the context and the customer context like coming through so clearly in kind of those product discussions. So that was pretty cool.
And ultimately, we got Twine, and I think it was a very early version of Twine at that time, and almost overnight, we just stopped going back to our Notion database. We immediately backlogged, I think, 4 months of calls from Gong into Twine, and it really helped us catalog and sort of highlighted things we'd been missing in our Notion database. It highlighted things that we hadn't even noticed were bubbling under the surface, and sort of pulled together all the insights that we'd been manually curating previously. They were just there in Twine automatically. And that's ultimately what sold us on the product, is that with a simple import, it was doing what we were doing manually and spending hours on a week, and was able to produce these fantastic customer love reports and identify product gaps that we had, and all organized in neat little themed packages with a clip there to watch. It's a game changer compared to what we were doing before.
Because our customer success managers know that we're using Twine, they've actually changed the way that they send information back up the line to us as a product team. So what they now do is they come and they say, hey, here are the kind of like 2 or 3 key themes that this customer has, and then here's a new piece of information, as opposed to just saying, we've got to go fix this thing, it's the most important thing, whatever, because they know that like that's not, we are looking at those customer calls and we are seeing the data from that. So it's actually kind of, it's increased the credibility of the product team with our CSMs. And that in turn has actually changed the way that they operate with us, because they know that we're seeing between the lines.
It really was a great moment, because we actually hadn't spoken to go-to-market about it. It was something that go-to-market had spoken about a lot in their calls. It wasn't top of their mind, but it was something that Twine helped us pick out. Without even talking to go-to-market, we had this feature that they ultimately loved and were very excited about when we actually posted it on our releases channel. And of course, when they shared it with their customers, they very excitedly also shared the Gong clips following up. Twine got in first, but we had a pretty big, wouldn't call it celebration, but there were a lot of very excited Slack messages as a result of it.
There's a lot of tools that kind of sort of do the same thing, but the devil's in the detail, right? Like yes, you could use Gong directly for some of this stuff. Yes, you could probably use like HubSpot's kind of conversational intelligence for some of this stuff, but actually the skill set, like the technology is pretty commoditized at this point, right? It's the context of that technology, it's the use cases, it's kind of like how you actually then map that to revenue, but in the context of future revenue, current revenue, retention risk. Like these are the things I think that Twine does really well, and kind of makes it irreplaceable, right? Like there's no way that we could switch over to using a different tool for any of those things, just because they're not geared to provide the data in a way that would actually make it useful. What we'd end up with is a ton of like interesting kind of snippets that we sit around and go, oh, that was really interesting. Oh, did you see that thing? Yeah, that was really interesting. And we wouldn't really know what to do with it. Like what Twine is really good at is kind of going that last mile and saying like, so what? Okay, that means you probably should prioritize this product feature, or that means that actually you could go unlock 5 sales deals by building something, right? I think that is that last mile bit that differentiates Twine from anything else. And I think that's just almost impossible to replace with a one-size-fits-all tool.